Okay, good afternoon, students. Just tell me once my voice is clear and screen is visible to all. Just tell me anyone, yes or no. Okay, good. See, students, in the last lecture, what we have completed just today, I am going to revise it in the short period of time. So, because some students had request me to please repeat all the part, but it is not feasible to repeat entire part. But I have just elaborate some important points. Whatever we have discussed in the last lecture, that I trying my best to explain you. Okay, so let us start. When we have started, so the first unit was basic economic problems or economics or introduction to economics. So first is what is economics. So in management studies, the term business economics and managerial economics are often synonymous. So both the terms, however, involve economics as a basic discipline useful for certain functional areas of business management. So economics is what? Economics is the study of men as they live, behave, move, and think in the ordinary business of life. So economics in essence pertains to an understanding of life's principal preoccupation. It is a religion of the day in living for the want satisfying activity. Economics as a social science studies human behavior as a relationship between numerous wants and scarce means having alternative uses. As we know that the human wants are unlimited, but the resources providing to satisfy their unlimited wants are very limited. So having an alternative uses means to provide an alternatives or substitutes for satisfying their unlimited wants is one of the major important points which is to be studied in the economics. So as a social science, economics studies the human behavior, their likes, dislikes, fashion, trends, habits, etc. So then, what is economy? The economic system is composed of people, firms, organizations, and governments. So it addresses the problems such as allocation of limited resources. So in this economic system is an organized way where people, a state, or a nation allocate available resources and distribute goods and services to society, that is the national community. Economics is a social science, so that's why it deals with the production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services. So economy is what? Economy is a system where decisions are taken related to what to produce, how to produce, and how to distribute in a particular society. So similarly, as we have discussed in the last lecture, that there are three types of economy. That is capitalist economy, in which the means of production were undertaken by the private organization and their motive is to earn maximum profit from their business. Whereas second type is socialist economy, in which the means of production were undertaken by the state government and their aim is what? To provide goods and services to the society for the overall development of the society or welfare of the society's welfare. Then the mixed economy indicates capitalist economy as well as socialist economy. It means the partial parts of means of production were undertaken by the private organization as well as the partial part were undertaken by the state government, and the motive is what? To earn profit as well as to provide the goods and services for the society's development, that is social welfare development. So these types we have already discussed in the last lecture. Then the important part is what are the basic economic problem, which is very important for your examination point of view. So which are the basic economic problem? What to produce, how much to produce, how to produce, where to produce. So all these problems in This list involves the allocation and utilization of productive resource such as land, labor, capital, enterprise, including finance or money in a modern economy. So 5 M's which indicates the main machines, materials, management and money are important elements of input in production decision making, and these are scarce means need to be economized in use. So optimal utilization of these resources is taught by the lessons of economics or business economic in a particular. So what are the basic economic problems? What to produce, how much to produce, how to produce, and where to produce. So that allocative decisions, productive decisions, and distributive decisions plays an important role while identifying the basic economic problems. We know that economics being a science which challenges scarcity. So it is a subject that shows how to deal with the problem of scarcity of resources for the satisfaction of human wants. Because human wants are unlimited, but we have to provide goods and services. We have to provide an alternatives for satisfying their wants. So as a matter of fact, Professor Robinson said that economics asserted that economics deals with economic problem, the problem of scarcity in economy and business life. Okay. Then in the last lecture, we have also discussed the basic concept of or what is managerial economics. See, managerial economics is essentially applied economics in the field of business management. It is the economics of business or managerial decisions. It pertains to all economic aspects of managerial decision making. Managerial economics, in particular, is the study of allocation of resources available to a business firm or an organization. So, business or managerial economics is fundamentally concerned with the art of economizing, that is, making rational choices to yield maximum return out of minimum resources and efforts. So, by making the best selection among alternative course of action, managerial economics helps in that way. So managerial economics is a pragmatic tool because it is concerned with the analytical tools and techniques of economics that are useful for decision making in business. So managerial economics is, however, not a branch of economic theory but a separate discipline by itself, having its own selection of economic principles and methods. Again, in the last lecture, we have discussed one important point, that is managerial economics in decision making. It means the role of managerial economics in decision making. So, decision making decisions are mostly related with the profitable decisions. Profitable decisions also requires the decision regarding selling decisions regarding productivity, production decision also plays an important role. So decision, whatever may be the decisions, but managerial economics helps in the decision making, because managerial economics means it is an applied economics. Applied economics means it actually applies the economic theory, economic tools and techniques for identifying or for analyzing the basic economic problems, or whatever the decision we want to take in the business course of action. That time we have to use or utilize the managerial economic techniques. Also, in the last lecture, we have discussed the Baumol's theory. So, Baumol's theory, it means it is a managerial. These are the managerial theories. Baumol's theory, like Mary's growth maximization model, Baumol's static and dynamic model, Williamson's managerial decision theory. So, these are the part which we have already discussed. These are the theory that economist has established their own views about the managerial economics and the decision makings. They have established the two models, that is static model and dynamic models, that we have also discussed in the last lecture. One point we have to miss in our discussion, that is objectives of a firm. लास्ट युनिटमधला ऑब्जेक्टिव्ह ऑफ अ फर्म हा एक पॉईंट आपला फक्त राहून गेला आहे. बाकी आपण फर्स्ट युनिटमधले सगळे पॉईंट्स कव्हर केले. Also, in the last Saturday, in the last lecture, we have also started what is demand. That is unit number 2. What is demand? Demand is desire, desire plus ability to pay, and the paying capacity of the consumer. So that is demand. We have also discussed the determinants of demand. Product price of the product is the determinant of the demand. Income of the people is also the determinants of the demand. Cross or substitutes of goods are also the determinants of demand. So that I have already explained you in the last lecture, which is very simple and very easy to understand. Even in the last lecture, we have also discussed what is law of demand. So, as per the Dr. Marshall stated that the other things remain constant. There is an inverse relationship between price and demand. So, once if the price increases, demand decreases, price decreases, demand increases. So, this is the law of demand, but which has some assumptions. Assumptions like, say, for example, price of the product remain constant, income of the people remains constant, the future expected future changes in the price of the product remain constant. So that type of assumptions. Exceptions like habitual things. I have told you that, or given one example, that is alcohol, cigarettes. So that are the habitual things. When the price of that particular products if increases, so there is no impact of changing in the demand, in the quantity demanded for that particular product. So that exceptions we have also discussed in the last lecture. Again, the elasticity of demand. Elasticity of demand is what? It also measures that what exactly the proportionate change of price and their impact in the proportionate change of quantity demanded. So now in today's lecture we have to start objectives of firm, then we will discuss the elasticity of demand. Okay, then ob- is the screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Objectives of firm.
Yes, sir.
Wait a minute. Okay, now the screen is visible. Objectives of firm.
Yes, sir.
Okay, see, in the objectives of firm. So this is the point which remains to explain you in the last unit, that is unit number 1. Okay, now tell me the objectives of firm. You can also tell me the objectives of firm. See, just take one example that you are a businessman or you are running one firm which is owned by yourself. Then what will be the your objectives? Can you identify the objectives or the purpose? तुम्ही जर एखादा बिझनेस सुरू करत असाल किंवा तुमची स्वतःची एखादी फर्म असेल, तर त्याच्यामागे तुमचे काहीतरी ऑब्जेक्टिव्हज असतील, त्याचे काहीतरी एम असतील, काहीतरी गोल्स असतील. सो कॅन यू टेल मी द ऑब्जेक्टिव्हज? येस. See, firm is a business organization that buys or hires factors of production in order to produce goods. Factors of production means what? Factors of production: land, labor, capital. So, in order to produce goods and services that can be sold at a profit. So, objective of firm. Objective of firm, the standard economic assumption underlying the analysis of firms is profit maximization. कुठलंही बिझनेस बघा, प्रत्येक बिझनेसचा किंवा तुम्ही स्वतःसुद्धा बिझनेस सुरू केला तर तुमचा सगळ्यात पहिला मोटिव्ह किंवा तुमचा ऑब्जेक्टिव्ह काय असेल? टू अर्न the maximum profit from your business. So profit maximization is one of the basic or primary objectives of a firm. Firms are assumed to make decisions that will increase profit. Generally speaking, profit maximization is the process of obtaining the highest possible level of economic profit through the production and sales of goods and services. For a more thorough discussion of this topic, see the profit maximization entry real world firms might to pursue. So these are the ऑब्जेक्टिव्स. अगेन द सेल्स मॅक्सिमायझेशन. आता बघा, सगळे ऑब्जेक्टिव्स कसे एकमेकांवर डिपेंड आहे. प्रॉफिट तर तुम्हाला मिळवायचं आहे, पण प्रॉफिट कधी होईल? जेव्हा तुम्ही प्रॉपर प्रोडक्शन कराल. प्रोडक्शन झाल्यानंतर त्याचं प्रॉपर सेलिंग कराल. सेलिंग झाल्यानंतर त्याच्यातनं तुमचा काहीतरी पर्सनल किंवा सोशल वेलफेअर हे ऑब्जेक्टिव्हसुद्धा सॅटिस्फाय झाले पाहिजे. देन अँड देन ओनली this will be helpful for you. But other than the objectives of a firm, you must have to understand the types of firm. So there are the 7 types of a firm. Sole trader, sole proprietorship. It means there is a single person who runs their business or their firms. Second is a partnership, where two or more persons get to coming together and they are going to start their business. Cooperatives firm, it is by joint venture. Private companies, public companies, state owned firms, and multinational firms are the types of a firm. See one by one. Then the objectives of a firm: sales maximization, profit maximization, utility maximization, welfare maximization, and growth maximization. So now see sales maximization. So in the last lecture, we have discussed about the Baumol's theory. What Baumol said, he has establishes the two models: static model of sales maximization and dynamic model of sales maximization. As per the concern, or as per the statement given by Baumol, he said that sales maximization is very essential to achieve the profit maximization objective. So, according to Professor Baumel, the ultimate objective of a firm is sales maximization rather than the profit maximization. कारण जर कधी सेल्सच झाला नाही तर तुमचा प्रॉफिट तरी होणार कसा? सेल्सच झाला नाही तो प्रॉफिट होणार तरी कसा? सो ही थिंक्स दॅट वेन अ फर्म कन्सिडर्स सेल्स मॅक्सिमायझेशन ॲज अ प्रायोरिटी ऑब्जेक्टिव्स, it does not neglect the objective of profit maximization. The objective of sales maximization with minimum profit is profit maximization. So it is yet another important objective guiding the entrepreneur for the production of goods. So profit plays an important role in the production decision taken by the firm. Okay, so according to the traditional theory, that level output which the maximum difference between the total revenue and the total cost. Again, in the last lecture, when we had discussed the Baumol's theory, that time I had explained you TR and TC. Total revenue simply said that it is your earning, and total cost, so it is your expenditure. So the difference between your earning and expenditure is your profit. So total revenue and total cost will help an entrepreneur maximize his profit. जर त्याला लक्षात आलं की त्याचं अर्निंग आणि त्याचं कॉस्ट यामध्ये जर कधी जास्त डिफरन्स राहत असेल तर ही इज गेटिंग मोर अँड मोर प्रॉफिट. बट इफ द डिस्टन्स बिटवीन दिस टू पॅरामीटर्स or two curve are very less, then it will indicate that the profit position of that particular firm is very poor. So these both curves help an entrepreneur to identify or to maximize the profit. Where the expenditure is more, that at that point entrepreneur tries to cut or tries to minimize their expenditure. So once he minimizes all the expenditure, then automatically the total cost will decline, and automatically the total earning or total revenue will increases, and simultaneously the profit will raises. So it is depicted in the figure. See here, it shows that, see, on the x-axis there is a output, on the y-axis there is a revenue, cost and profit. See, you can see here, when output quantity 1 and then quantity 2, so maximum TR, that is total revenue, and total cost of quantity 2, say it crosses or it cuts the upper side of the revenue. So the position indicates when, see, when see the quantity 2, when the TC cuts at the point where the TR crosses the lines of TC. It means when TR is increases and where TC was decline. So that time this is the case of maximum profit. So here you can identify whether that particular quantity or selling of that quantity is sales maximization is very important for getting or for calculation of the profit maximization. Okay, so utility maximization is the third point. Utility or satisfaction remains the end objectives of human behavior. Taking this idea into account, economists like Benjamin, so he is an economist, he said that the small firms pursue the objectives of utility maximization. It is called as preference function maximization. So according to this view, the satisfaction to the entrepreneur does not come only from the maximization of our profit, but he may get this satisfaction from the leisure which he is suitable to or able to enjoy. So utility, again, the very important objectives. Welfare maximization has two part. First is a personal welfare, while second is a social welfare. So as far as concern the personal welfare, the people who make decisions for a business are in fact people. So they have likes and dislikes. So they have personal goals and aspirations just like people who do not make decisions for firms. So in this occasion, the people use the firm to pursue their own personal welfare. When they do, their actions could enhance the firm's profit maximization or in many cases prevent profit maximization. Then the social welfare. The people who make decision for firms also have social consciousness. So part of their likes and dislike. It means these objectives of a firm. First is a sales maximization, second is a profit maximization, third is a utility maximization, and fourth is a welfare maximization. Welfare maximization has again two parameters, that is personal welfare and social welfare. So you can easily identify the way from where an entrepreneur can increases their profit by cutting their cost of the production. Cost is an expenditure which is to be incurred in the production procedure. So this will definitely make and profit positive impact on their objectives. Growth maximization, it is very important objectives for every business organization. So, when an economist, that is Galbraith, has also made one statement in his empirical study that managers pursue not single but multiple goals such as sales maximization, utility maximization. Along with these objectives, managers keep the prime objective to achieve the top level or the highest possible level of growth in output. So they also try to improve their prestige, technical superiority, and market power. So they take the help of effective advertising on a large scale to influence the consumer in order to attain the above mentioned objectives, that is sales maximization, profit maximization, utility maximization, personal welfare maximization, and social welfare maximization, along with the growth maximization. अगेन द ऑब्जेक्टिव्स ऑफ टॉप कंपनीज, आता इथे काही जस्ट एक्झाम्पल दिले, जसं आता टॉप कंपनीज आहेत ॲपल, रिलायन्स, इंडियन ऑइल, सॅमसंग. तर यांचे ऑब्जेक्टिव्स थोडे तुम्ही जर कधी अप्लाय केले किंवा जर बघितलं, जसं आता ॲपल लिमिटेड टू एक्सपांड देअर सेल्स टू कस्टमर, जसं आपण म्हणतो ना की सेल्स मॅक्सिमायझेशन हे ऑब्जेक्टिव्ह पाहिजे, जसं ॲपलचं आहे टू एक्सपांड देअर सेल्स टू कस्टमर्स हू हॅव नॉट एट ओन एनी ॲपल्स प्रोडक्ट, then to produce hassle-free products that provide service and enjoyment for customers, then become the leading business in the mobile market. See, the last objective was growth maximization. Here, see, Apple Limited, ॲपलचे 3 ऑब्जेक्टिव्ह काय आहे? सगळ्यात पहिले टू एक्सपांड देअर सेल्स टू द कस्टमर, आणि शेवटचं बघा, बिकम द लीडिंग बिझनेस इन द मोबाईल मार्केट. इट मीन्स विथ द हेल्प ऑफ म्हणजे सेल्स, प्रॉफिट याबरोबरच जे महत्त्वाचं ऑब्जेक्टिव्ह आहे, दॅट इज वॉट, दॅट इज ग्रोथ मॅक्सिमायझेशन, बिकम द लीडिंग बिझनेस इन द मोबाईल मार्केट. अगेन द रिलायन्सचं बघा काय आहे की क्रिएट सिनर्जेटिक इफेक्ट बाय क्रिएटिंग हाय क्वालिटी अँड डायव्हर्सिफाईड पोर्टफोलिओ, then to provide diversified financial services with the focused people, diversification of sources of funds, enhance the corporate value. See, corporate value, again it indicates the growth of the firm. Indian Oilची बघा, to serve the national interest in oil, to serve the national interest in the oil, it means to sell the oil and related sectors in accordance and consistent with government policies, to maximize utilization of the existing facilities for improving efficiency and increasing productivity, to earn a reasonable rate of return on investment, to serve the national interest in oil and related sectors in accordance with and consistent with the government policies. See the Samsungs. So Samsungचं काय आहे? To extend. It means to expand amongst the members the knowledge and appreciation of computers, automatic data processing systems, and computer-based automatic control system and the theory. To foster and inform public opinion regarding computation and computing machinery and techniques, to take interest in the general professional welfare of the members, to do such other things as the society may think incidental or conducive to the attainment of the objects of the society. So here you can easily understand that every business organization, every firms has the main objectives of their profit maximization, but along with the profit maximization, sales maximization is important, as Baumel stated, as well as the utilization maximization is also important, personal welfare maximization, social welfare maximization, and the growth maximization are the important objectives of a firm. Okay, so this is all about the unit number 1. Then in the unit number 2, in the last lecture we have discussed the demand, determinants of demand, law of demand with their exception, their assumptions, that we have already studied or discussed in the last lecture. But now here we can see the elasticity of demand. See what Dr. Marshall states, that other things constant inverse relationship between price and demand. But here the elasticity of demand will gives an clear idea about the exact changes. That is, demand usually varies with the price, but the extent of variation is not uniform in all cases. In some cases, the variation is extremely wide, but in some other cases, it may just be nominal. So, the means sometimes demand is greatly responsive to change in price, at other times, it may not be so responsive. So the economists to measure this responsiveness or the extent of variation use the term elasticity. So elasticity of demand means what? It indicates the percentage change in quantity demanded divided by the percentage change in determinant of demand. So the term elasticity of demand, when used without qualification, is commonly referred to as price elasticity of demand. But this is a loose interpretation of the term. So in a strict logical sense, we can say that the concept of elasticity of demand should measure the responsiveness of demand for a commodity to change in the variable confined to its demand function. So there are many kinds of elasticity of demand and the determinants. So there are the three types of elasticity of demand, that is price elasticity, income elasticity and cross elasticity. So let us start with the price elasticity of demand. But before starting this, I just want to ask you one question. Have you understand the points whatever we have discussed till time, that you have understand it or not? आतापर्यंत आपण काय जे एक्सप्लेन केलं ते तुम्हाला लक्षात आलंय? अगदी व्हॉट इज इकॉनॉमिक्स पासून ते इकॉनॉमी, देन इकॉनॉमिक प्रॉब्लेम्स, managerial economics in decision science, then the Baumol's model, then the profit objectives of the firm, then demand, determinants of demand, law of demand with exception assumptions, and now the elasticity of demand. Have you understand all this point clearly? Any question, any queries, you can ask me. I know that most of the students are in the office, but those who are in the home, they can answer me. Okay. Okay. So let us start. Price elasticity of demand. The extent of response of demand for a commodity to a given change in price, other demand determinants remaining constant. Simply we can say that what is price elasticity of demand? The percentage change in quantity demanded divided by the percentage change in price. It means the price elasticity of demand may be defined as the ratio of relative change in demand and price variables. Again, when price elasticity coefficient is greater than the unity, the commodity is said to be price elasticity. But again, Dr. Marshall has stated the types of price elasticity of demand. Marshall has suggested a threefold classification of types of price elasticity of demand, viewing the numerical coefficient of price elasticity, then unit elasticity of demand, elastic demand, and inelastic demand. So, what are these three types of demand? So, when we are talking about the elastic demand means जसं आता तुम्हाला बघा एक सिंपल लँग्वेजमध्ये सांगतो व्हॉट इज इलास्टिसिटी ऑफ डिमांड. म्हणजे एक थोडक्यात सांगतो की समजा आपण म्हणतो की प्राईस कमी झाली की डिमांड वाढते, प्राईस कमी झाली की डिमांड वाढते किंवा प्राईस वाढली की डिमांड कमी होते. बट प्राईस इलास्टिसिटी त्यातलं युनिट इलास्टिसिटी ऑफ डिमांड मीन्स व्हॉट, की समजा प्राईस ₹1 जरी कमी झाली, तर त्याच्यामध्ये लार्ज क्वांटिटी ऑफ डिमांडेड ही कमी होते. म्हणजे कमी झालेल्या प्राईसमुळे लार्ज क्वांटिटी ऑफ डिमांड जी आहे ती इथे वाढलेली आहे. सो म्हणजे थोडा जरी स्लाइट चेंज इन प्राइस विल गिव्स यू अँड ह्यूज चेंजेस in the quantity demanded is called as elasticity. That is perfectly elastic. Inelastic means what? Whatever the price may be decline or rise, but not affect on the quantity demanded is inelasticity. And what is unitary? एक रुपया कमी झाला, एक क्वांटिटी वाढली, एक रुपयानी वाढली, एक क्वांटिटीनी कमी झाली. So that called as unitary elasticity demand. But the perfectly elastic and inelastic plays an important role in this aspect. So the perfectly elastic demand, consumers have infinite demand at a particular price and none at all at an even slightly higher than this given price. So perfectly inelastic here indicates the demand remains unchanged whether whatever be the change in the price. Relative elastic, quantity demanded changes by a larger percentage than the price. Relatively inelastic indicates the quantity demanded changes by a smaller percentage than does price. And unitary elastic, quantity demanded changes by exactly the same percentage as does the price. So this is all about the price elasticity of demand. Again, the price elasticity of measuring the price elasticity of demand, there are different types of method is also given, but this geometric method or whatever the methods may be given, so it is not in our syllabus point of view, because which will also it is a very difficult part, but we have no, the method is not in our syllabus. So, okay, just understand this concept, that is price elasticity demand. So then the next is the income elasticity of demand. Income is a major determinant of demand for a number of goods. We may have an income demand function. So it suggests that the demand may change due to change in the consumer's income, other factors remaining constant. So the concept of income elasticity is thus introduced to ascertain the extent of such changes. The income elasticity of demand measures the degree of responsiveness of demand for a good to changes in consumers' income. So, an economist defined that the income elasticity is defined as a ratio percentage or proportional change in quantity demanded to percentage or proportional change in the income. So the simply formula is income elasticity is equal to percentage change in quantity demanded divided by percentage change in income. And so again there are types of income elasticity, that is unitary income elasticity, income elasticity of demand greater than unity, again income elasticity of demand less than unity, zero income elasticity, and negative income elasticity. And the last type is a cross elasticity of demand. So in arriving at the price elasticity of demand, one takes into account the change in demand due to change in the price of the same commodity. In cross elasticity of demand, we take into account the change in the price of commodity and its effects on the demand for commodity. So the concept of cross elasticity is important in the case of commodities which are substitutes and complementary. For example, tea and coffee are substitutes for each other. Pen and ink, car and petrol are complementary goods. So the cross elasticity demand refers to the degree of responsiveness of demand for a commodity to a given change in the price of some related commodity. The cross elasticity of demand between any two goods, say for example X and Y, is measured by dividing the proportionate change in the quantity demanded of X by the proportionate change in the price of Y. So cross elasticity of demand formula will be the proportionate or percentage change in demand for X divided by proportionate or percentage change in price of Y, because both are subs, uh, substitutes or complementary to each other. So positive value suggests substitute products and negative value suggests the complementary products. So the cross elasticity of demands measures the extent to which products are substitute or complementary. A positive cross elasticity of demand indicates that the two products in consideration are substitutes, since an increase or decrease in the price of one causes an increase or decrease in the quantity demand for the other. So a negative cross elasticity of demand indicates that the two products in consideration are complementary to each other, since an increase and decrease in the price of one lead to a contraction extension in the demand. So this is the cross price elasticities of demand. The concept of cross price elasticity of demand can be useful in determining the competitive price strategy and policy in the alternative rival modes of services, such as railroad services. Cross elasticity here is taken as a measure of the effect of a change in the fares on the demand for the rail service and vice versa. So this is the elasticity of demand and its types. Okay, are you understand this point? Elasticity, it is very simple. See, what is demand? Demand, it means desire plus ability to play and the purchasing capacity of the people. Determinants of demand: price, income, cross, that is substitutes. These are the types of demand, sorry, determinants of demand. Then next, law of demand, which the Dr. Marshall indicates that as the price changes, or there is an inverse relationship between price and demand. So price may be rise or decline. It has adversely affect to the quantity demanded. And elasticity, it will exactly measures whatever may be the change due to the change in the price in the quantity demanded. It has to be establishes through the, or it can be illustrated with using the formula. So that elasticity has three types, that is price elasticity, income elasticity, and cross elasticity. So price elasticity deals with the changes in the price of the product, whereas income elasticity indicates as the income of the people changes, what will be the effect, what it will affect to the quantity demanded. And the cross elasticity, which indicates the substitutes or and complementary products. The positive value has related with the substitute products, whereas the negative value indicates the complementary products. So that all will be, or that all can be illustrated with using the formulas. विष्णू वाघमारे, विष्णू वाघमारे आहे का? विष्णू वाघमारे. ओके. भूमिका, भूमिका गुजर. येस. हां, समजलं सगळं. बाकी तर सगळे स्टुडंट ऑफिसमध्ये आहेत. त्यामुळे आपण काही जास्त विचारू शकत नाही त्यांना. पण जे तुम्ही सध्या रेग्युलर आहेत. सगळं लक्षात आलं व्यवस्थित? ओके. सो या सगळ्यांची व्यवस्थित स्टडी करा. येस. हां. ओके, ओके. ठीक आहे. हां. थोडं आता मी थोडक्यात जे काही आपण आता आज सांगितलं, ते थोडक्यात मी तुम्हाला एक थोडं मराठीमध्ये सांगतो. एक लक्षात घ्या, की इकॉनॉमिक्समध्ये आपण जसं इकॉनॉमिक्स म्हटलं, की इकॉनॉमिक्स इज द स्टडी ऑफ ह्युमन बिहेवियर. म्हणजे जे काही ह्युमन, म्हणजे ज्यांचे जे काही लाईक्स, डिसलाईक्स असतात, टेस्ट, प्रेफरन्सेस, हॅबिट्स, याचा एक स्टडी असतो. आता तुम्हाला वाटेल हा स्टडी का करायचा? आता हा स्टडी का करायचा? तर सगळ्यात महत्त्वाचं म्हणजे की जसं आता आपण ऑब्जेक्टिव्ह ऑफ फर्म बघितलं, की प्रॉफिट मॅक्सिमायझेशन हा प्रत्येकाचा ऑब्जेक्टिव्ह आहे. आता हा प्रॉफिट मॅक्सिमायझेशन जर आपल्याला साध्य करायचा असेल, तर त्याच्यासाठी आपला सेल वाढला पाहिजे. म्हणजे आपण जे काही प्रोडक्शन करू त्याचं सेलिंग झालं पाहिजे. मग आपण जे प्रोडक्शन करणार आहोत, त्याच्याही आधी आपल्याला माहिती पाहिजे, की त्या प्रॉडक्टला डिमांड येणार आहे की नाही? किती डिमांड असेल? त्यानुसार आपण प्रोडक्शन करायचं. समजा आपण आता एखाद्या मोबाईलचे, समजा एक XYZ मोबाईल आहे, त्याच्या 100 क्वांटिटी प्रोड्यूस करून ठेवल्या, पण मार्केट सर्व्हेच केला नसेल, तर मार्केटमध्ये त्या विकल्या जातील की नाही आपल्याला काय माहीत? त्या जर तशाच पडून राहिल्या, सेल्स मॅक्सिमायझेशनच नाही झालं, तर प्रॉफिट मॅक्सिमायझेशन होणार आहे का? नाही. म्हणून या सगळ्यांचा आधी डिमांड ॲनालिसिस केल्या जाते, की आपल्या प्रॉडक्टला मार्केटमध्ये तो परचेस करण्यासाठी तेवढे लोकं आहेत की नाही, तेवढं त्यांचं इन्कम आहे की नाही, आणि म्हणून हे सगळं डिमांड ॲनालिसिस केल्या जाते. मग डिमांड ॲनालिसिस करताना डॉक्टर मार्शलनी सांगितले की प्राईज आणि डिमांडचा एकमेकांशी संबंध आहे. जसं प्राईस कमी झाली की डिमांड वाढणार, प्राईस वाढली की डिमांड कमी होणार, असा त्यांचा एकमेकांशी ते कोरिलेट करतात. म्हणून मग त्याच्यावरनं त्यांनी इलॅस्टिसिटी सांगितलं. जसं आपण सांगितलं, आपण नुसतं म्हणतो की प्राईस कमी झाली की डिमांड वाढणार, पण इलॅस्टिसिटी काय सांगते? इलॅस्टिसिटी सांगते की एक्झॅक्टली किती फरक पडतो. म्हणजे ₹1 प्राईस जर कमी झाली, तर अशा किती क्वांटिटीनी तुमची डिमांड वाढणार आहे, किंवा ₹1 प्राईस कमी झाल्या ₹1 प्राईस वाढल्यामुळे किती क्वांटिटी डिमांड तुमच्या कमी होणार आहेत. याचं जे काय एक स्टेटमेंट आहे, ते तुम्हाला इलॅस्टिसिटीमध्ये मिळते. मग प्राईस इलॅस्टिसिटी काय सांगते, की प्रॉडक्टच्या प्राईसमध्ये जसे फरक पडणार, म्हणजे कमी जास्त होतील, तशा तुमच्या क्वांटिटीमध्ये कमी जास्त होणार. मग त्याच्यामध्ये त्यांनी 3 प्रकार मांडले, की इलॅस्टिसिटी डिमांड, इलॅस्टिसिटी प्राईस. प्राईस इलॅस्टिसिटीच्या पहिल्या प्रकारात त्यांनी सांगितले, की इलॅस्टिसिटी. इलॅस्टिसिटी म्हणजे काय, की ₹1 जरी प्राईस कमी झाली, तर 100 क्वांटिटीनी डिमांड वाढते. म्हणजे याला म्हणतात परफेक्टली इलॅस्टिक. म्हणजे प्राईस चेंजचा क्वांटिटी डिमांडवर भरपूर परिणाम होतो. मग ती कमी हो का जास्त हो. तसंच इन्कम इलॅस्टिसिटी काय इंडिकेट करते, की जर इन्कम ऑफ द पीपल, म्हणजे एखाद्या प्राईसची किंमत आज ₹10 आहे, पण ती जर 15 झाली, तर आपल्या लॉ ऑफ डिमांडप्रमाणे 10ची 15 झाली म्हणजे क्वांटिटी डिमांडेड जी आहे ती कमी व्हायला पाहिजे, कारण प्राईस वाढली आहे. पण ॲट द सेम टाईम जर इन्कम वाढलं असेल लोकांचं, तर मग त्याच्या डिमांडवर त्याचा काही परिणाम होणार नाही. सो दॅट इंडिकेट इन द इन्कम इलॅस्टिसिटी ऑफ डिमांड. आणि क्रॉस इलॅस्टिसिटी काय मेजर करते, तर तुमचं सबस्टिट्यूट्स, म्हणजे समजा आता जसं आपल्याकडे कार आहे, बाईक आहे, तर त्याला पेट्रोल लागणार. म्हणजे पेट्रोलच्या किमती कितीही वाढू द्या, त्याचा तुमच्या डिमांडवर परिणाम होणार आहे का? नाही. कारण त्या क्रॉस इलॅस्टिसिटीमध्ये मोडतात. जसं चहा प्यायचा असेल, तर मग चायपत्ती पण लागणार, साखर पण लागणार. मग नुसती साखरची किंमत वाढली पण चायपत्तीची कमी झाली, तरी दोन्ही गोष्टी या म्हणजे जेवढ्या प्रमाणात लागतायत तेवढ्याच प्रमाणात घेणार आहे. सो दॅट सबस्टिट्यूट्स इफेक्ट विल बी मेजर in the cross elasticity of demand. So this is all about the elasticity of demand and their types, that is price elasticity, income elasticity and cross elasticity. So I hope you all are very much understand this concept. This is very simple and easy topic. आणि तुम्ही हा सगळा स्टडी करत राहा. निराली प्रकाशनचं एक बुक आहे, इकॉनॉमिक ॲनालिसिस फॉर बिझनेस डिसिजन, ते परचेस करा. आपल्या लायब्ररीमध्ये सुद्धा डॉक्टर DM मिथानीचं बुक आहे. नवीन एडिशनचे पण बुक्स आपल्याकडे आहेत, ते सुद्धा तुम्ही घेऊन त्याच्यातनं सुद्धा स्टडी करू शकता. ओके, सो दॅट्स इट फॉर टुडेज लेक्चर. Okay, in the next lecture we will start with the demand forecasting methods. Okay, so shall we stop? Understand? Okay, so that's it for today. Okay.